I'm Francesco.
I'm Emiliana.
I'm Nicola.
Let's talk about the cell!
Let's talk about meiosis. It's one of the stages of sexual reproduction and consists in 4 stages: the prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase. In the prophase, first DNA strands thicken into chromosomes that are called homologous. Homologous chromosomes begin to approach each other in order to form bivalents. Then the centrioles go to the opposite poles of the cell. Then the bivalents duplicate in order to form tetrads. There are a group of 4 chromatids, and the tetrads attached to the spindle fibers in metaphase. In the early anaphase first, the tetrads separate and cell membrane begin to disintegrate. In the telophase, the nuclear membrane encloses completely the chromatids, and the cell membrane begins to constrict. And at the end of the telophase, the cell membrane is completely constricted, and it created 2 cells, each with the same number of chromosomes of their parents. Now starts the second meiotic division. In the prophase 2, the homologous chromosomes don't duplicate but just separate. In the metaphase 2, the chromatids line up at mid-cell, and the centrioles and asters are in the opposite poles of the cell. Then the spindle fibers forms. In the anaphase 2, the now separate chromosomes go to the opposite poles, and the cell membrane begins to constrict. In the telophase 2, the cell membrane is completely constricted, and have been created 4 cells with half the number of chromosomes of their parents. So the difference between the first meiotic division and the second meiotic division is that in the first meiotic division cells have the same number of chromosomes, while in the second they have half the number.
Crossing over is a process in which there is the recombination of chromosomes and the appearance of the new combination between paternal alleles and the maternal ones. It took place the separation of alleles of genes localized on the same chromosomes, and it is a causal event because it depends on the distance of the genes imposed upon the same chromosome. For what concerns genetic mutations, we can say that they are main causes of several diseases, like Down syndrome, called also trisomy 21, and Edwards syndrome, called also trisomy 18. Now we are going to talk about the asexual reproduction that happens thanks to the mitosis without fecundation. The progeny derives from a single individual, and it doesn't introduce the possibility of genetic variation, and it loses the same individual. Mitosis is composed by 4 phases: the prophase, the metaphase, anaphase, and telophase. First of all, the nuclear membrane dissolves itself, and then chromatids align, giving the possibility to the sister chromatids to separate themselves. Then the daughter cells form themselves, and the daughter nuclei are completely identical to the parent cell.
Hi, let's talk about the history of the cell. In 1665, Robert Hooke was the first person to identify cells. He studied them in an elderly marrow, in which there were only dead cells, therefore he was not able to find a nucleus. Then we have Anthony van Leeuwenhoek, which in 1670 was the first person to study a living cell, but he didn't find the nucleus. We have to wait until 1833, when Robert Brown is the first scientist to find the nucleus in the center of the cell. The studious Schleiden believed that only vegetal organisms had living cells, but in 1839 Theodor Schwann came up with the theory that both animal and vegetable living beings have living cells. In 1847 Rudolf Virchow studied the cell's diseases and came up with an hypothesis, which was confirmed, that diseases result from changes in specific groups of cells.
The development movement of these years inspired many philosophers' works, such as Kant's one. Indeed, he wrote about the individuals as a self-organized being. and he thought that necessity and freedom join together in the reflecting judgment, and also that the subject reflects as a mirror the internal reality to the external one. He also said, such a natural product as it is, every part is thought as owing its presence to the agency of all the remaining parts, and also as existing for the sake of the others and of the whole that is an instrument or organ. The part must be an organ producing the other parts, each consequently producing the others. Only under these terms, these conditions, and upon these terms, can such a product be an organized and sub-organized being, and as such be called a physical end. During this period, it was also developed the mechanism theory, which is focused on the beauty of organisms and on their functions. Many philosophers consider human beings as body machines. The one who developed this theory was Kant, who tried to gather the theological and mechanical ideas about living beings.
Thanks for watching the video. Goodbye.